Welcome to the show, Nadav.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for everyone for listening.
You're very welcome. The reason why you're here is because you have a film you are currently trying to get made entitled Cabby, Cabbi.
That's right, Little Eye.
Little I. Everything else is capital. Little I. Which is, from my understanding, when it came across my desk, it's kind of a take-up or a modern retelling of the story of Taxi Driver.
That is correct.
To the listening folks out there, you're going to want to just give the pitch of what this film is and what inspired you to create it.
Oh, totally.
To write it, I guess.
Yeah, to write it, and to make it next year.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. The elevator pitch is it's a modern retelling of Taxi Driver. And the idea sort of came to me when, like I'm sure most people, you got 2 hours, you're like, oh, let me watch a movie. You throw on Netflix, and then you spend 2 hours adding things to your watch list. One of those films, on that night was Taxi Driver. I hadn't seen it for since 2006 when I was in film school. And so I throw it onto the watch list, and this dumb little thought pops in my head, like, oh, they should remake that movie, but instead of a cabbie, he's a rideshare driver.
Yeah, like an Uber.
Like an Uber.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and you can make fun of the shift in culture, the shift in time. You can make fun of the film and all these. Again, a dumb little idea that eventually grew and grew and grew until I just felt like, you know what, let me just see if there's anything here.
Yeah.
Joker was kind of like the king of comedy. Why not? So I did it, and so this version is about a man named Jack Grimstone, who is a veteran suffering from PTSD, living at home in his mom's basement. He's on the cusp of 40. Things aren't really going well, and one day he decides to start driving for this rideshare app called Cabby.
Right.
And through this process, he's trying to find this kind of like human connection. We're in a world where there's screens all around us, and there's no real tangible human connection. He's looking for something like this,
Right.
and he meets all these colorful characters. One of them turns him onto a podcast,
Right,
which
yes.
sort of sends him down this political, divisive
the
rabbit hole,
Ah.
which ends up radicalizing him to the point where he thinks that he's the one who could stop this dangerous politician who's sort of stoking those narrative divides for financial gain, and is basically inciting a second sort of uprising.